Yes. All right, so here is your build in the Moskva. So you are running the legendary module. You
Yeah.
are running steering gears. Interesting. Why steering gears?
But because like the Moskva acceleration isn't like that good in my opinion. I think it's a bit overrated, and you need steering gears to get into like rough positions that I like to get my Moskva in.
Okay. If you're playing up closer, then steering gears might help, especially with making sure you can angle appropriately.
Yeah.
If you play long range, kiting away Moskva, then I find that the propulsion helps. But okay.
Yeah, but mostly I'm getting myself into like risky situations, like getting detected
Mhm.
early, right? So you have to like dodge while getting into rocks.
Okay. And then I see you have the standard, tank cruiser build here.
Yep. Nothing too fancy.
No. Okay. Cool.
That's
Well,
actually the identical. That's identical to the build that I run. Actually, that's nice.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like it's a well-suited build. So let's take a look at this game here. You're up against KSC, so the King of the Sea winners. And
Yep.
I see Storm. I see Remu Bakare. I see
Yeah.
I am Oyman and Toxic. So
Hmm.
familiar names.
Yeah, so right now I'm basically noticing their composition. So they have a Nevsky, a Des Moines, and a Harugumo and Summers. So Harugumo and Summers are both like used for smoke trains.
Yep.
Right, so I'm figuring like any combination of Des Moines with Harugumo or Nevsky with Summers, stuff like that. So
Yep.
I'm basically telling my team, especially like on the 8, 9, 10 lines, to play like relatively passively,
Mhm.
commit, because you can get caught out, radared, and killed really quickly.
Yep.
I'd highly
Um,
doubt that they're putting the smoke train at like A, but never know.
I mean,
Well,
typically
I mean-
speaking, you would have your B,
Well-
wouldn't you? Because it's easier. You can just flank out.
Why don't you have one on each side? You got two smoke trains there.
No, I mean like the one at A is like usually going to be like up against the rock, right at like the C5 area. So like if
Right
the
there.
smoke soon clears, right, and like the Des Moines or the Nevsky can't really like run away.
Hmm.
That's why I was like less concerned about like, A. And so right now I'm basically doing the calls, right? The Kleber usually wants to patrol like the 2-3 line first,
Mm-hmm.
then rushing in. I'm using like the daring to cap first, because like usually I can get the Moskva to where the daring is and give support if in case they get rushed by like
Right.
destroyers.
Now, guys, when we do clan battles, you might notice I'm not really following the player as much, and that's because this is a very, team-intensive battle. So I'm free
Right, I
camming
basically
around,
did nothing.
and that's again a part of the reason why I scroll back from that. Oh, and you guys can see my hands there. Ah.
I like
Yes.
I like your decision to send the Napoli to the 9-10 line. That basically locks down that flank and keeps them
Yeah,
from pushing up and getting flanked.
Napoli is like one of the most resistant ships to the Nevsky spam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Either like it gets detected right by the destroyer and the Napoli just runs away, or like it can charge a Nevsky smoke and like survive the spam
Mm-hmm.
long
Yeah.
enough to like actually run it over and do something, get out of there.
Now, what's
Usually
going on?
not. What's up?
What's going on with your battleships? They're pretty much together.
That's because like the spawns are like at the same like flank, right? So the Colombo has to like ride parallel to the Bourgogne to get to that position at A. And the
Mhm.
Bourgogne, I told him to like play passively, so they're not like charging
Okay.
right down like the 8, 9, 10 line.
Okay. Now I see a death
Yeah,
snail
oh.
going in front of the Colombo here,
Yeah,
and there's the other
this
one.
I expected the Colombo death snail, but not this death snail. This one I think was like a little foolhardy.
Because it's in front of that island instead of behind it.
Yep. And not only can like the destroyer like spot that, I can radar it when I get to my eventual position.
Yeah.
Now this is the other cap layout. You might notice that A is 50-50 in the Thunderdome now instead of
Mhm.
completely in it.
I kind of like it. But
No,
more
I like
different,
here-
more in the middle.
Yeah. Now, what I really like here is that you form a triangle between the Borgone and the Napoli. So now the Colombo has to turn away, or he's going to get farmed out. That's very well executed.
Yeah. So I take a little bit of a hit from the Monty. Oh, the Monty hasn't shot yet.
There he is.
But yeah, there he goes. Yeah, I take a bit of a hit, but usually this is like a bit more aggressive than a line I would like to take, but I think it was like important to get the Des Moines out of there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a very strong position for Moskva anyways. So
Was that Montana solo?
Yeah, usually I like to go beyond that like island on like G4, a small island.
So I want to go back to that triangle that you were mentioning, Shockwave. Can you explain again what you were saying there?
So the triangle essentially is you either have to angle to one ship. You can only angle to one ship, right? So by putting both Napoli and the Borgone in their respective positions, that Colombo is basically under pressure. And you see what that basically under pressure to angle to either one of them. Either he angles to the Borgone and eats AP from the Napoli, or he angles to the Napoli and eats AP from the Borgone. You see what that's done, right? It's forced him to smoke up. So now he's got a decision here, right? He can either push in or he's going to loop out. And just by judging from the looks of it, he's going to loop out.
Right. So, and I just wanted to take a moment and highlight that a sec, because you said it earlier, you said it quickly, and I think a lot of players who don't really do a lot of high competitive might not understand what that triangle statement is. It is something that I comment on a lot when I'm talking about battleships and forming, causing broadsides and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Hello, Des
Now
Moines.
here's what I really like. You basically have this locked down.
Yep.
You have that A-cap locked down. If they step onto it, you can radar, and that Daring the Colombo is basically free launch.
Not necessarily. So here comes the Napoli over on like the 3 line, right? Basically wants to get into that gap.
Yeah.
That's right.
And like contest from like the 4 line.
Yeah, and I'm presumably speaking, you put the Kleber there to try and stall him as much as possible.
Yep. And to yellow whatever like gets set up on the 4 line against that cap.
Nice single fire torps from the Daring on the Des Moines. Got a couple hits there.
Good.
And torps on the Napoli. Poor Remu.
Rip.
Womp, womp.
I'm surprised though that the Kleber is moving south instead of going for like threatening the side of the Napoli if he tries to commit to go into the Thunderdome.
That's very, very committal. Like,
yeah, it is.
I'm saying like going north back up is very committal because like you can get trapped by the Napoli and like just killed.
Yeah, and that's a one-on-one that if he loses, the Napoli now has free side on you and the Colombo, and that's something you want to
the Napoli commit into the A cap and then follow up the follow-up YOLO.
I got it. Okay.
So here now like the main concern is now the Montana, right? Just sticking my head in. Which Montanas are really, really good at doing against Moskvas.
You're being radared now.
Yeah, it's for the Montana to do that.
Right.
Yeah, right now it's just gonna be a battle between like who can kill the other person's like cruiser on the 4 line.
Right.
Des Moines or the Moskva.
Yep. And I would probably give the advantage to you.
Colombo. Yeah.
Colombo SAP does a nasty amount of damage even to valid targets. Now, the only problem is you either need to back off because that Montana might kill you before you can kill him. That's the only problem.
Right.
I think the other problem is the Napoli now has shots from inside the Thunderdome.
Or Borgone, he gets focused down a lot.
Yeah, and the other problem is look where that Nevsky smoke train is. Now it's pushed up all the way to F8, F9, so that's a issue.
So, like the Napoli has to like be forced out and like give ground.
Torps on your Colombo. It's gonna force him back. So KSC is doing a really nice job of getting that push formed. There's the radar.
And
is your Colombo ready?
I think Satan might have made a bit of a mistake just opening up there, because now he's being forced back, and now they know where the Colombo is. So now they know where they're expecting him to go.
I definitely agree. Like they were really, really far on like the 10 line, unnecessarily so.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
you guys like everyone's sort of in the middle now instead of all the way on like the 2-3 line, so we can come back and help.
I'm
I
scooting
feel like
over here so we can see what's going on with the Napoli too.
I feel like the Kleber might have gone a bit too aggressive, and Reimu has made the smart decision to bump into the island rather than
No, that's
go out and give himself a flat broadside to a Colombo
in
and
my
a
opinion,
Moskva.
that's a bad decision because you
Uh-huh.
need to maneuver in order to like avoid the Kleber torps. So right now I'm calling him. Yeah, Doc, you can like go into YOLO rush Napoli.
Yep, and that's
He does
exactly
it
as
very,
SAT
very
said too.
nicely.
Yeah, that's very well executed, actually. Come to think of it. And there goes Doc.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
my-
like stern in to Doc. So that means
Can't move.
basically can't get like a lot of his guns on him. Can only
And he
get,
took a
like, some-
torpedo earlier. Could have forced a DCP too.
Yeah, he took a torp on the booty, but now Doc needs to be careful to make sure that his torpedoes line up correctly. And they look like they will. Yeah, it's one, and that's two. Very well executed. That's very good.
Yeah.
And KSC's also made the mistake of, again, keeping themselves far too long on the 10 line. Had they pushed a little bit faster, I think both your Borgone and Napoli would be under significantly more pressure right now. Also not sure whether Montana is where he is. Like,
Definitely.
look how much... Yeah, I mean, he's been shooting you the entire... He's even resorted to HE at this point, which is kind of disappointing. But also shows just how, desperate it is. Like, had the Montana been,
I think the Montana should have went on like the 6th line. Like, sure, it would have exposed him to like the Daring and like maybe the Colombo, but that's still like okay.
Yeah,
Well, they needed to find a
lot of the ships.
They needed a way back into this game, and unfortunately, they don't have one if the Montana stays on the other side of that island chain.
Correct.
I mean, Des Moines there, but I mean, that doesn't matter too much. You guys can get resets on them possibly.
Yeah, and also I'm coming back into the cap as well to block it. Actually, yeah. Now I'm radaring.
Yep, because you're looking for
like
that Summers.
Harugumo.
Oh, and
the
yeah, there's the
Harugumo.
Harugumo too. Yep.
Yeah, this was a good combination, a wombo combo.
Yeah. So now Saint's trapped.
That's
And
the
he's got a
glory
Col-
that is
he's got a
12 kilometer
Colombo-
radar.
Yeah, he's got a Colombo, a Daring, and a Marsal looking at him, and I don't think that's going to end well. Although it's fair to say that Nevsky's a lot closer than he probably want him to be, but look how much focus fire that Harugumo's not going to come under. Like, he's going to melt.
Yep. And we also trade for the Colombo as well, so they're like
Yeah.
far from.
I was
in
gonna
this game.
say, if you didn't get that kill on that Colombo, that would have been a really bad trade there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like
Good
Doc's
thing Moskva-
positioning in the Kleber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically,
Doc is
preventing
doing-
the Des Moines YOLO.
And more importantly, he's also keeping the Des Moines proxy spotted. What that meaning that now your team knows where he is as he moves.
True, but
Yep.
nobody can really do anything about it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was basically afraid of the Montana like pulling up again. And,
Oh,
like,
nice kill.
preventing, yeah, and that's game.
Yeah.
Let's see, did I put the render on?
Oh
Change
no!
it.
Don't do that.
There's
GK.
there's about a 20-second delay from the stream versus what's going on in the voice, so that's why you're hearing stuff a little bit after it's happening.
Yeah. And yeah, you're right. The single capital won it anyways, Dutch.
But I mean, if you think about it, the Kleber running away, that just gives so much more flexibility for the Des Moines after getting the A cap to either chase or go back south again. So
I expected
the
the
threats.
Summers to come out first. It's like the Summers can gun down the Kleber at that HP, but just they were desperate.
Well, I think they recognized they needed to do something to win, and it's kind of, well, let's just go and see if we can make it happen.
Thing is, it's a problem too little, too late.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the
That's-
yeah, I think it was just shenanigans over on like the 10 line. I don't think they realized that like everything is happening on the 4, 5, 6, 7 lines now. Now that
Yeah.
the caps are so close together.
Yeah.
What I like to do is I like to divide the map in half and say like, okay, whatever needs to happen on this side, if it doesn't work, we have to hope that it works on the other side. Then we can rotate whatever worked on the other side to the other, the side that didn't work. Because my strategy revolves around spreading the field and putting pressure, not so much precision, which is what your guys' strategy was more of, which is really nice. And I will say that the execution of this was it's not the smoothest, but it worked very well in you. And the moves that I think what really won the game for you right there was Doc taking out that Napoli.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that was the baller move.
Yeah, that was the baller move because he gets taken out, and now there's basically no pressure on you, and now the Des Moines basically stuck because he has no backup there besides the Somers who's run off into Narnia.
Yeah. I think that Daring also did a nice job, like, coming back to C. Like, first, resetting the Des Moines, getting him back, like, getting some torps on him so he's not, like, too aggressive, and then heading back onto C to kill the Harugumo.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing, too, for people who aren't familiar with, high competitive clan battle metas and stuff like that, you probably noticed how it's probably relatively boring for some players. Like Patton, for example, I'm sure, you're shooting Montana and going forward and backward and forward and backward and, DCPing and healing and all that, but you're not really doing much else. I mean, radaring too, I suppose, but it's not a game mode where you're gonna go around. It's almost a full contrast to Big O's YOLO game. Like
it requires precision.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
unselfish gameplay.
Yeah.
And you're playing for the game instead of for yourself.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know not everybody's going to agree with me on this. Competitive experience translates very well to random experience because now you know all the spots. You know where you can go to get the max amount of influence and the max amount of damage possible. More importantly, winning the game for your team. And that's very important in recognizing when to do it, how to do it. More importantly, can you do it without getting yourself absolutely smoked in the process?
Right.
Easy.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. That was actually a really cool.
Yeah, no problem.
First
This
look
was
at
definitely one of our proudest wins. We actually beat KSC like a few times, but I think they still have a positive record on us.
Yeah, I mean, KSC is actually relatively easy to beat. You just have to look. You just have to see like what are they going to try and lock down. Read that, and then just do the exact opposite of what they expect you to do, and then you just win.
Yeah, kinda, I guess.
To be fair, I don't think Rainbow's expecting to put their deal on.
They've got their setup. If you look at how they're playing, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Like, I personally don't think like the Napoli did anything wrong per se, other than maybe Beach at like the very end. It's just Kleber versus like Napoli. You just have to like range out the Kleber. You can't like dive into ACAP anymore.
Yeah, I think the other problem too with the Napoli's position, if you look at Reimu, he's taking opportunity shots at the Bragon and whatever else he can from inside the Thunderdome. But what I find interesting is he's moving up, in my opinion, way too close to the island, to the edge of the island. So he doesn't have room to maneuver to the point where he ends up beaching. Had he been staying closer to that middle island, that would have given him much more room to maneuver as needed. But he might have also been open to shots from the enemy too.
Yeah, I mean it's a new cap, There's definitely like new tactics to be made.
I find this cap layout to be very questionable, to say the least. Not so much the caps, just. Well, I mean, I can live with the A cap being half and half inside the Thunderdome, but the spawns are throwing me off. I don't like that.
So
Because remember, it used to be like B5, B6, and then like I5, I6, or something like that, and then they shifted it to the diagonals. And I'm like, why?
mhm. Well,
I kind of like this map because it's more positional rather than like take a cap, lose a cap, stuff like
yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
kind of like wait, what's that map where like the caps are right on top of each other?
See a fortune.
Basically, see a fortune, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because if you take both the caps, that's basically 3 points, and
Hmm.
you basically win the game if nobody contests it.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's like in a kill zone, so you gotta do like stuff around the caps as well.
So I
Yeah,
want
you got.
everybody to take a moment and look at. Let's take a look at the Napoli here. I'm trying to blow it up a little bit, but I think if he stays here until the Kleber shows himself, he's better off. But he keeps
Yeah.
moving closer to the island here, and
Yeah,
it's
So
he
you get
wants
stuck.
we're
wants
gone.
to stop the cap because like the Des Moines can't do that with the Colombo in his face.
Right. So he wants to stop the cap. At the same time, you can see this little spot here on the map. It looks like there's an island there, which is true, but it's a flat spot. So you can see the Burgon taking a shot here at the Napoli. That's going to
Mhm.
force Remu to go too far forward, like you said, so he can step on the cap, but also not
Yeah.
take shots from the Burgon.
Yeah, I didn't notice that actually. Maybe that
And you
was
know what's
why.
also really good? Your Kleber preserved his health. He was
Uh
full
huh.
health when he rushed that Napoli, and he came
Right.
out alive. Had he been lower, I don't think that rush would have worked.
See
Yeah,
right
I
here?
agree.
Look at the
Very
Napoli.
smart of him.
So he's now sitting with the island to the right so that the Burgon does not have a shot on him. But that puts him in a bad position when the Kleber shows up around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the Des Moines is detected at this point because your radar is on. This is crucial because if your radar wasn't on, the Colombo's there too, but the Des Moines could have tried a hero play to come in and double team your Kleber, maybe. I don't know.
But there's
Yeah,
a
but that
Colombo in
wasn't.
his face though.
That's what I
That's
Yeah,
mean, right?
there's a Colombo
that would have
there.
been a free. That would have been a free 2-1, 2-for-1. That game would have been a lot
No.
over a lot faster.
That, right, that's what I mean, because that Colombo is there. That's the problem. All right, so
Yeah.
here we go. Remu now realizes he's screwed, hits the W key, smashes into the island, and gets stuck.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part where he's going to take a torp up the butt.
Yep.
And then now he's trying to back up. And I think this is crucial too. Your Kleber stops and waits a little bit to get himself set for this next charge. And there it is.
And yeah. That's
But what
just.
have.
Hmm.
Dutch, what do you mean?
You mean like the Summers or something? Because I expected the Summers to help against the Kleber.
So did I, frankly. I'm not sure why he didn't come in. Probably because. Oh, no, you know why? Because he was busy smoking at the point.
Yeah, or killing the Colombo with like torps. That was also useful.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
doing a lot of Torp stuff. Messi, 10 goat, thank you very much for the follow. But the thing is, too, again, with your radar up, I think he was too concerned about getting close enough to support, against your Kleber.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And more importantly, that Colombo staying there as long. Your Colombo staying as long as live as he did. That
Mm-hmm.
kept the Montana from going forward. They kept the Des Moines from going forward.
Yep.
And you basically just kept them off the A cap as long as you did. So that worked really well in your favor there, I think.
Yeah. I was really surprised the Montana like didn't commit more aggressively. I was like just counting the days before the Montana's like right in my face, just doing 15k my nose.
If the Napoli had been further away from the island, so to the middle, right, that small island in the middle, right, could it be that
Yes.
he could also been shot at by Colombo while getting so close to the edge island, only left him facing the Burgon? Depending how far
Probably.
north the Colombo got, we can take a look at it. You zoom back in again. Unfortunately, there's no way to fast forward this, but hopefully you guys are seeing the power of looking at replay renders. For those of you guys who are doing clan battles, all you have to do is take a replay file and then go into any server that's got the render bot. The Warships community one has it. My Discord has it. Use the render command, and then you can download this video. You also have the ability to take a look at commander builds and ship builds and stuff like that, which comes in really handy too.
Thank you, of course, to the amazing trackpad for designing that bot and its functionalities.
Right. So we go back a little bit. Let's take a look again. So I think what Dutch is saying is, could he have gone to the upper part behind this small island far enough forward to get into the cap and stop the cap, and yet then have the maneuverability space?
Maybe. Like, keep in mind that the Napoli is still like a heavy cruiser, right? It might have like good maneuverability, but it's still like, you know, it's still really big and it's easy to get stuck. And if you're like stuck, right, it's
Right.
have like the same exact problem, except you're also off of that island and still shot at by the battleships.
So take a look. Burgon has kind of an angle. I mean, he's got this island to try to arc over. The Colombo is heading south right now.
Mm.
So had he gone north and gone to this point, the other part of the problem is he burned his smoke in order to get into the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
If he had the smoke available, he could have gone into the cap, gotten the cap. Battleships can just guess, maybe get lucky.
But I still had my radar though.
Right.
Like, I think they knew it.
I mean, yeah, so if he's up in the north here, Colombo's got no shot. Burgon, if he's detected, has a shot, at least on the bow. But then when the Kleber comes up, at least he might have the ability to say, oh crap, and now he's got a little bit more room to maneuver. But as SAT says, he's pretty much dead once he commits to going in, because the Kleber came back around. Doc did a great job.
Mm-hmm. I kind of agree. But like, on the other hand, like, there was a Colombo in the Des Moines face, so they can't really like put the Des Moines into A. I think they were just going with like the least bad option.
I mean, frankly, the other option would have been to put the Napoli south, but then he's facing everything. But if he can get around behind you, maybe he could dig you out that way.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting him to do, actually. But, yeah. I mean, like, if he goes south, he also has to, like, get torped by the Klebers as well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
So it's tough. It's tough, and that's again that's the difficulty of clan battles. If you've got a really good position with people mutually supporting each other, it's really hard to crack that.
Yeah, which is again like the 910 line. That smoke with that really wide smoke train and Colombo positioning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was very cautious. Had it been like a line closer, maybe that would have exerted more pressure.
Mm.
But
that's what I expected. SAT, the F1 island, that was just to range out the Kleber, prevent him from making any plays a day.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, and rely on like Montana to kill me.
He basically let the Kleber do exactly what he needed to prevent.
Yeah.
So.
But there's also flip sides to that. Had Raymond been prepared for the Kleber to YOLO rush him, I don't think it would have gone as smoothly as possible. That might have had a different outcome. But it happened the way it did. So, you know, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right? We can't really say much more than that. Yep. So, yeah, I guess it worked out the way it did. Your Kleber, of course, you know, Doc played that really smartly and stayed quiet against the Napoli, knowing full well, first of all, that's a Napoli. So the last thing you want to do is get aggressive against that thing, because it will shred destroyers off Penelope's business.
Yep. Yeah. Now, Fox said, why couldn't the Napoli just go north? Because at the point, the Colombo and Burgon didn't have a shot with that island right there. Let's take a look. It's about to happen. Right here. So instead of pulling forward and getting skinny to the Kleber, what Fox is saying is, why not just go full W north?
Maybe that could have worked.
He's probably still worried about being YOLO'd in the face because obviously Kleber just goes north and, ends him that way. But it might have been, it might have given a bigger chance.
Yeah. But the thing is, if he also plays Renner on the Rosie, it's a very limited angle, but the Colombo could also potentially shoot him. So that's another thing to consider.
Not out of the cap. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but you guys are all right. The Colombo's in a good spot. If he goes too far north, like into the E line, the Colombo can probably smack him. It's tough. Yeah, I know, right? Seriously, like it's a puzzle, and we're all trying to solve it, and we can't, frankly, solve the puzzle. So,
yeah, I still think the C push. What is their last opportunity to get back in the game?
Yes. Here's the thing: it's always a series of what ifs, right?
Yeah.
What if the Napoli had the guns ready for the Kleber to come around the right side of the islands? What if the Napoli hadn't run to the island? Like, there's a lot of what ifs here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if that smoke train had been like 2 or 3 kilometers closer to where all the action was happening?
Right.
Like, who knows? KSC might have won that. AAA might have won that. Anything goes at that point. So, as we say, hindsight is 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't always be completely certain of it.
Yeah. No. I mean, this is great, and that's why we do. That's why we do this, and that's why I like doing clan battle replays, especially because we can spend a lot of time really looking into and dissecting strats and everything. So this was a good